Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we're going to be discussing strategy and thought process like we do every video, but it's going to be heavily emphasized in this one. We got a Yudachi game. We'll call it just a destroyer game. It's not a crazy action-packed game by any means, so the ship doesn't matter necessarily. We'll get the highest score in the game. Don't worry about that. It's not a bad game or anything, but this isn't going to be the all-time world damage record. And since it's a little bit slower pace, that's going to hopefully give me the opportunity to do a deep dive on the thought process if I don't get too sidetracked. Fingers crossed. First off, criticism. Didn't check the roster. We will check it soon, but I was probably watching TikTok or something. Wasn't ready to go for this match. Uh, it's a joke. I don't own TikTok. But anyways, first things first, always pull up the roster. As a destroyer, what are we doing? Especially as a high tier destroyer, scan the roster for radars, basically radar cruisers in particular. And here we go. Exeter, Helena, none of those guys have radars. Okay. Next up, Jervis, Fletcher. Those are the destroyers. Those are the guys I'm dueling. What's my role as a destroyer? I capture bases, i.e. I score points for the team, and I got to fight off the other guys that are trying to do the same point blank range, right? That's what we're here to do. We go from base to base to base to base to base to base to base, as long as it takes until our team is winning and scored. Okay, so we'll do some damage as we're accomplishing those goals, hopefully, and hopefully we'll be able to kill the other destroyers while we're at it. But that is the destroyer's game plan in domination mode. Capture bases every single time. Doesn't matter what the score is, doesn't matter or what the map is, doesn't matter what the ship composition is, anything like that. You're here to score the points. All right, so we're on B now, and we're checking for clues. All right, so we only see one. We're Bismarck and an Iowa, so we're missing a ship here. No carrier in this game, so we should expect 3 ships north and south of each cap, respectively, right? So we have 1 red ship unaccounted for. Presumably, that's probably a destroyer, unless it's a cruiser who didn't move forward much. Perhaps deployed laterally or even went back further into the spawn. That's possible. But we got to say, okay, probable destroyer. Oh, and by the way, twist and track, that little half moon there that's showing the approximate location of the nearest enemy ship available in destroyer commander perk builds in slot 3. That's suggesting there's something over here. Not quite. It's possible it's pointing at the Iowa, but it's not very likely. Okay, and the Iowa and the Bismarck, they're both 9 kilometers away, so we probably got something kind of behind that island there towards that battleship on the left that we saw a moment ago, but about 8.5, 9 kilometers away in that direction. Okay, so that's the information we're reading here. We did our job here. We got B. Weren't challenged. Oh, here's destroyers. Iowa doesn't launch torpedoes. Bismarck doesn't launch torpedoes. Again, there's no plane. So now we know something's probably up here. We probably at least had a destroyer at some point in time in this vicinity. So we got to decide here. Are we going to try and defend B, or do we move on and try and score more points? Okay, we got a Bismarck close range. Bismarck withering secondary attack. If we get spotted and we can't block the line of sight and disengage, that Bismarck secondaries could kill us without him even firing a main gun shot. So that's a very dangerous ship for us to have near us. Iowa, he's disengaging, he's moving, he's putting that island that's directly in front of my ship off the screen right now in between me and him. So the threat to him is going down and down and down. Okay, at least as I was in that direction. There's the Fletcher. That's great news. We want to see him. And I'm also thinking, okay, it's possible twist and track showing me this cruiser over here. Not likely. I still think the battleship's closer. But we probably still have a destroyer over here. So we're going to throw some torps down. And then we're going to move back into our spawn away from these guys. We don't want to be surrounded by red ships. We got a lot of red ships very close to us. And we still have a hunch there's probably a destroyer over here. We don't want to be surprised. Ooh, we're spotted. Boom, we got 3-4 guys shooting at us within 4, let's say within 10 kilometers. Those are all considered close range shots on destroyers. We would be dead conceivably in the span of about 5 to 10 seconds. Why are we going towards A? Well, we're responding to the team. Now we know there's a destroyer on a red destroyer on A. We think there's one between A and B, and we have no evidence to suggest that there's one on C. We have 3 red ships accounted for there. There was no early, attempted capture of the base that wasn't accounted for by ships on the map. Like if red's seen B be captured early in the game, for instance, they could say, well, we don't see any battleships or cruisers on there, Ergo, it must be a destroyer, right? We never saw that read on the C cap over there. So that one would actually be easier for us to capture on paper, except for the fact that all the support ships over there eventually left. The battleship was playing to the big island Saltasea. He stayed around the longest, but eventually they're all going over here. And we got 2 destroyers over here, and that's job number 2, right? Capture bases, counter destroyers. So we got a base here that red controls that we want. We got destroyers that we want to kill. And we got decent support over here. We got some blue ships. They're not in great position to fight. Neither are the red ships, though, who are also in close support. So if we didn't have any blue support over here, I probably wouldn't come over here to challenge this cap. But as the pieces are arrayed on the map, so goes the play. Twist and track, pointing way to the right. Okay, well, we got a destroyer coming basically where I just came from, right? You know, where we just looked on the map there. And you can see him there on the map. So there's the Fletcher. Hoping the team kills him. Helena close range. We don't want to be dealing with this here. We're on the base, so their scoring of A is now frozen. We want to capture this, but this is a scoring play in and of itself. We're preventing them from getting the little bit of points that they would get while I'm on here. Keep that in mind. Looking for torpedo shots, not pushing into this crew. They got planes flying around that could spot us. And again, we get spotted here. 3 ships, maybe 4, assuming there's a destroyer over here, could all kill us. Why am I being this aggressive? We do have smoke available. We do have torpedoes available. And we have the ability to survive likely if we do get spotted, right? If we don't have a smoke available, we can't defend ourselves with torps. These are all factors. If we have no support whatsoever, not nearly as aggressive. I'm looking for torpedo shots, which is why I'm this close to them. There's the destroyer. We need to notice him immediately. There he is. Okay, it took a little bit. Pop the smoke immediately. We already had the torps in the water. Expecting fire from the Jervis. Expecting fire from the Helena, Iowa, whatever else they got back there. All of them begin shooting at us as expected. And this is why we popped the smoke immediately. And we changed direction. We were backing up. Slammed on the gas. If the engine got knocked, I didn't see if it did there or not. But repair it immediately. Because those shots coming in. That play right there cost us about 3k or HP, right? Not bad. We got a cap, and we killed one of the 2 destroyers on the enemy team. I'd trade 2.5 or HP in almost all situations for that play, right? That's a great play. If all those ships hit us, now we're down to maybe 2,000 or 3,000 HP left. I'm still making that play, but that's a much bigger cost, right? That limits my options going forward. Right now, I can make a lot of plays. If I need to rush battleship, suicide torp them, I can do that. If I need to fight this Helena, I'm not going to do it with that amount of health here. But let's say the team whittles them down to 5,000, 7,000 health. I can win that fight, right? As long as I pick the shots properly, I pick the time, I got that option. Okay, so the more HP we have, the more options we can make. All right, so getting back into the play here, and here as soon as the Helena crosses that threshold, we chime in, right? Because me and the team that's shooting him can kill him. I immediately switch over to the Fletcher because the Fletcher is a must in this situation. We're down in ships just recently. Score, we're down. All right, this is a very, very tight game and will be to the end. So we need to get this Fletcher off the board, which is why initially when I pulled the trigger on the Helena, I was planning to aid his demise. He should be dead right now if that play unfolded as I envisioned it, but the Fletcher, a must kill. All right, he does get away, and he does get on B, freezing our scoring and potentially threatening one of our 2 sources of income. Major problem. Helena low. He's blocked by his own smoke, so we move in. All right, now we got the guys who captured C pushing into our spawn, and they're beginning to squeeze in as well. Very tight position here. Okay, we got guys that will be coming from the north. We got the Fletcher, the Helena, who are already in the cap. We got Bismarck or whatever these battleships are from the east squeezing in, limiting the ability to disengage. Note the smoke, no longer available. All right, so if we get in a spot where one of these guys spots us and we can't get out of there in a hurry, i.e. get behind an island, that's a kill. All right, so we need to be very, very careful when we can't disengage here. But we also, we just lost the cap and we're down in score here. This is problem. All right, so the risk that we're willing to take goes way up. We have to make very, very risky plays. This is making me nervous just watch this because I'm moving into the point here where Bismarck, secondary threat, not that far from spotting me. Fletcher pops up here, kill him. Helena. Oh God, here we got a opportunity to get Little John in the studio.
Enemy cruiser sunk. We've got 2 of them.
What?
We've got 2 of them.
What?
We've got 2 of them.
Okay. Thank you, Little John. Little John's appearance brought to you in part by Bull Bites. Bull Bites bite into the bowl. Bull Bites. All right, that was exciting. Now jumping back into the action. Of course, that was a very dangerous play, but a lot of these plays here in this sequence are kind of necessitated by the idea that we're kind of forced to be doing stuff, right? We've been talking about how we were down in score, now we were down in caps. Now these are losing propositions, right? So we got to make the plays we need to rectify them. Desperately need to get the base here. Bismarck, the biggest challenge as he pulls forward. Looks like he's slowing down a little bit, perhaps pressured by the ships to the east, or the west rather. But he's the biggest threat. If he moves forward here, he spots us. Again, withering secondary attack, close range main gun. Big problems. We're trying to torp off both sides of the ship here. Give these guys something to think about. Number one, if we whack them, great. But number two, okay, they got torps in the water. Battleships hate destroyers. All right, they hate them. They don't want to go anywhere near them. All right, now we got problems. We've regained the cap, but they're down in ships. They got more weight, though, right? They have actually 3 battleships, I believe. And we have 2 battleships, cruiser, 2 destroyers. All right, so we got some scoring pieces here. A lot of our ships are right out west. Keep in mind, 3 of the ships on the column of A. The A column, or the column that runs through the A cap, rather. It's a lot of weight controlling a part of the map that has no threat to it and that we already have under its control. So even though at the top of the screen it looks like we've got a big advantage here, not necessarily, and boom, down goes the Maz. There goes the other destroyer. And we're making the play. You can see we're traveling over to C cap here. Risky, risky, risky. I'm getting nervous, of course, making this play because what could easily happen is they kill all these ships on the blue team one by one by one. They're already on B, right? All right, so let's say they kill those guys rapidly. Then they move into B, they capture that, and then potentially get A. You know, they're going to be getting a lot of points from killing those battleships, the 2 battleships and the cruiser. That's 280 points, right? So that'll put them firmly back in the lead, up by about, I don't know, 150, 200 points, whatever it is. And the amount of time left on the game clock here is not such that me getting this cap, even if they don't get A, we can't make up those 180 points, right? So even watching this back, it's very controversial for me in my mind to say, do we want to come over here or not? All right, this is a very, we want to be getting the points, but anything can happen. You can see they just killed another ship. Now they're tied. We've been doing a good job controlling the bases so far. I got B right off the puck drop. We eventually wrested control of A from them, and it took Red a while to get C. That's why we're in the lead right now, because they have 25 additional points for a battleship compared to a destroyer. So if there was no scoring in the background, they would be up 25 points, okay? We got more points in the background due to the better game time decisions of myself compared to the other team. So that's keeping us alive. But coming over here now, well, if they kill those 2 battleships, we got problems, all right? So I'm desperately hoping that we can kill one of those guys to lessen the blow, right? If we kill one of them, they kill 2 of ours. Well, we're only down 100 points there. And we're once again now increasing the background lead that we've been accumulating over the course of the match, right? So the goal is always to make the background lead so great that even if they kill the ships they're likely to kill on your team, you're still going to have that lead. That's why conceding control of the caps early on is foolish. That's when your win rate plummets, okay? You need to be controlling the bases, and if you happen to win by killing all the other ships or whatever, great. But what we're trying to do is take away the chance of us losing the game in as many situations as possible. All right, so they ram there, they trade, we are down, and now look at where they are on the map, and I'm like, oh my god, they can get onto A potentially. And if they get onto A before we regain the lead, it's over. Game clock getting close here. I'm desperately trying to get back onto B. If I get back onto B, I freeze the score in place, right? Okay, so right now we're trying to catch up. If they get on A before we catch up, we lose. All right, and that would be a time that you could say, "Oop, you went to C. That was a bad play." All right, but if they don't get on A, which, oh my God, it's going to be close. Right here, we just won the game. All right, because even if they do it, they're going to be freezing the score. B will produce points, C will produce points, A will be neutral for the remainder of the match. So we won. Let's say they got there just in the nick of time, and I have enough time to get on B. I'm trying to get there as quick as possible just in case this play happened. Well, maybe I could wrest control back from them. Okay, so it gets very, very dicey at the end of the game here, but it all comes down to controlling those caps. So we do go on to win that game. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the Yudachi game there. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Questions, comments, leave them below, and we'll see y'all later. All right, peace.